I know you've talked about this team's maturity and how they've been able to, it's a long season, but have you noticed a little pick me up this weekend coming off the Texas sweep?
Well, obviously I wasn't around him, but 30 minutes after the game, and but I felt like going into the series that I just felt like that they were rested. Just being around them for the workouts, it just went better, and there was more energy. And it wasn't like lack of hustle or anything before, but you can just tell and you feel it because you're around them all the time, and the team's a little bit tired. But I didn't feel that way this weekend.
You talked about Deeds. What would be the ideal situation to get him to a game?
Yeah, I know. Now it's, it's tough because you don't want to put him in maybe in a leverage spot right now. You don't want him to be getting blown out, but that would probably be the time. It'd been great to get him in that midweek game just so he'd get his feet wet and pitched in a game in over a year. So we're just going to see what situation we have and, excuse me, and just probably just put him in. And it could be a situation, it could be this week, and it could be left on left, 2 outs and a runner on second. Just go get this one hitter. It doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Gain some experience. But, he's got really good stuff, and if you go in there and he can pitch like we know he can, and it might not happen right away, he can definitely help us.
Yeah, Gage at 57 pitches the other night. At what point does he do you let him go as far as he can?
Yeah, it's getting close to that time. And when you say let him go, it's more like, you're talking 80 maybe, 75, maybe 80, somewhere in there. Kind of depends on how stressful of a 75 pitches it's been a lot of traffic on the bases, or has it just been kind of like foul ball, and, he's getting them out. So temperature, a lot of that plays into it, but he's probably ready to go now.
As you look at the top of the polls, I guess, looking around college, a lot of times this time of year there's been a team that's kind of separated itself from everybody. It doesn't seem like there's one of those this year. Do you see more balance?
Oh, I see so much balance in our league. We haven't even played Alabama, and they're really good. And you just see these teams, there's a lot of teams that are 13 and 11 or 11 and 13, all just jumbled in there. And that's what I really thought was going to happen. This big 16-team league now, top to bottom. You figure maybe 2 teams, 3 teams might slip away a little bit. But what Texas did getting out those last few weeks, it's not like it was surprising, but I didn't see it coming. And so all we did this weekend is all we could. And that was win every game. And we're just going to try to continue to get healthy and play with energy and go to Baton Rouge, which is obviously, if not, it's one of the top 2 or 3 hardest places to play in the league if you're the visiting team, that's for sure. And they're really talented, and they can beat you in a lot of ways. They got guys that have been there, and they have power, and they can pitch.
With Dietz, was there any consideration to maybe give him the 9th inning of Game 1 with you up 9-0, or?
No, not really. At the time, I didn't. You just want to win that game and don't want to change the momentum, kind of. I want to just get through that inning and move on to the next day, and hopefully we pick it up and, have a good taste in our mouth, so to speak.
And you mentioned Coyle potentially back this weekend. Do you throw him right back into like a high leverage kind of role, or do you work him back slowly? How does that go?
I think you just use him whenever you need to use him and go from there. But he'll be on the roster 100%, and he'll be ready to go.
With those resistance bands, do you think about taking them out of your facility? Do you go in and check what's in there already?
The crazy thing, the band didn't break. It pulled out of the wall on the band like a slingshot. It could have been tragic. And but those things, the bolts on them it's like, how did it happen? Like, I don't know if it's ever happened before. So, that's definitely been discussed.
With Logan might be available this weekend, are you leaning any certain way of, if he is available, putting him in, or keeping Carson out and right?
Well, it's we'll see how it goes. Not sure yet, honestly. Obviously, that left-handed hitter there that can handle the bat and do some things. They're a different type of player, really. It really just depends, maybe the matchup, and maybe, or lefties hitting their lefty better than the righties, and that's kind of the case on the Friday guy if you look at it. And so I don't know yet. We'll just think about it. I mean, if he's just okay to play, then I'll just use him as a pinch hitter. If he can run down balls, he's going to have to show that to me in Thursday's practice a little bit.
You talked about getting the practice last week by not going to Springfield. Were there things that showed up during the series that you had talked about in practice or emphasized where you could see that time had really been beneficial?
A little bit of the holding runners and working on some of that type of stuff, and then really more than anything, just in the way we were moving, to me, and we just looked quicker. But as far as the practice time, and I would say this too, really got a chance to work with Cam at second. We worked on double plays, and we did bunt coverages, and because he'd been playing first so much, and Frazier kind of got there, so we put Frazier out there, and now he's out, and now he's the guy. We threw him out there. I guess this past week, and he'd still been taking a lot of reps at first. So we did a lot of stuff, in the middle, and I think that helped.
The way that worked out last week was you maybe think about leaving the last 3 weeks open in the future and for conference play.
You mean like our third starter?
Well, no, I mean like not having a midweek game.
Well, I think it's so hard to schedule, and it's hard to get teams to travel later in the season to Fayetteville. It's not easy to get to. We're already done with next year's midweek games, I think 100%. So, I still could cancel them and say, no, we can't do it. But now I think you need to play some games. You never know how the year is going to go because there's always a pitcher you need to start. And a pitcher needs to pitch. So you need to play. You don't want to just not play. Now, this week finals, we won't ever play during finals. There's some, I won't schedule a game next week. Like, I've seen teams that play on Tuesday before the last series. It doesn't go good if you're supposed to win that game. Talked to other coaches about it, and I saw there's 1 or 2 teams in our league that are playing next Tuesday, and then you play Thursday, Friday, Saturday again. But I don't play that one, so I don't play the last 2 weeks. But you only have so many weeks to get those games in, and to get 56, you almost have to play. You have to play every week, or you got to go some 2 to 3 doubles to get them in.
You mentioned the emotions of this weekend. I'm just wondering how you go about bouncing back off such a high, when we had the other end of the spectrum a couple series ago.
No, I don't. I think you mean heading to LSU after this series? Yeah. I don't think it's. You got all week, and now you're going to travel and get in their ballpark and play in front of 13 to 14,000 people, and I don't think we'll have any problem with being excited about playing. Emotionally, we should be ready to go, and when you start playing games on Thursday, you only really have 1 week left if you fast forward 7 days. So I think the guys are excited that we're getting down towards the end and getting ready to get to the SEC tournament.
You mentioned leaving Game 3 open, probably something you're going to do. If Beidle Sheets pitches out of the bullpen, like who would Bybee be that next starter, or who else would be kind of in that conversation?
He's one of them. Yeah, I mean, not sure, honestly. And I'm not saying Landon's done a bad job. It's just, I wish it was a little longer. Give us 5. We need more innings, especially in Game 3. It'd be nice. So maybe we just script it out. Say you're going 2, and you're going 1. And if a guy's just getting after it, it's time to move on to the inning that he's out. Maybe we let him go another one. But I just don't want him to go out and, pitch like I'm going to pitch 6 innings. When you can throw 94 a lot and you're pitching at 91, well, if you just know you're only going 2, maybe you'll pitch at 94. Just give us what you got.
Can the home run issue be fixed on the fly, or is there anything you can do at this point?
Well, it's just been a couple mistakes. There's mistakes. You get ahead in the count, you can't throw it down the middle. You gotta make pitches. They can be fixed. It's up to him to do it. And it's not the only one. I mean, everybody gives up home runs. It's just there's been a lot of extra base hits.
With moving Gabe to the bullpen, I know you've had success a lot with guys moving to the bullpen. They rediscover their form, but Is there anything specific with him that just suits like that role a little bit, whether it's routine or I don't know, getting maybe too amped up before a start? What can you say to that?
It's probably I don't know about the routine. I think it's more the mental part of it, just thinking about it so much. And when you're a reliever, you're not sure when you're coming in. You're just ready to go, and then you get your call and you get loose, you go in. It just worked out better for him, but he's going to be a starter, and he may end up being Game 3 starter. If we would have had him available to start, in Game 3 against Texas, he might have started instead of Landon. We don't know.
At LSU this weekend, is there kind of like a certain criteria that has to happen for Landon to come in for either Game 1 or Game 2? Because against Texas, first 2 games were comfortable. It's not like you needed him.
Yeah, it would have to be. Yeah, we talk about it before the series started. I just go into it and wing it. If this certain situation or they got 2 or 3 good lefties in a row or whatever, just go in and finish the game for us, and we'll figure out how to handle that third game when we get to it, and try to take the one you have in front of you. But yeah, I mean, he's he's relieved. When he was at Ohio State, he was a reliever before he was a starter, so he knows all about it, and he's been good about it. He's not upset or mad at us or anything. I mean, he's just trying to be a team guy, wants to help us win.
Root was obviously a really good pitcher last year at East Carolina, but this year his strikeouts are way up. Just how do you attribute that to?
Well, development, strength and conditioning program, maturity, just growing up another year older, from 20 to 21 years old. There's a lot going on there physically, and then the mental side of it, just being maybe in our program and pitching in this league and being around other guys that are really good. And he's around some good pitchers, obviously there, but he's just taking it to the next level. And it's been really fun to watch him develop this year. He was good when he got here, and now he's really good.
Do you maybe think you guys deserve to be a number 1 this week?
No, we haven't. I don't know if anybody deserves to be number 1. I mean, when you look at it, everybody just beating each other, and it's kind of the polls all over the place. I don't think in the past few years I've seen teams move so much. You're number 2 and you go to 8, or you have a bad weekend, but you still won a game, or you lose 3 games on the weekend. Usually you don't stick to number 1. You're going to move to number 2. So I almost feel bad for the guys trying to do it, honestly, because I don't know where I'd put them. I don't know where I'd put people. They've got individuals working for them that are all over watching all the different leagues, and they just probably get on a conference call and talk about it and try to figure it out. I think sometimes whenever it's like this, you just maybe need to look at the numbers more, like team ERA, team batting average, fielding percentage, where they play, who they play, and maybe not move them as much, because but then again, it's all about the same. They're using RPI, they're using strength of schedule, and we're in pretty good shape on all of that.
Hey, Coach, thanks for your time.